In this video, I'm going to build this professional animated portfolio website in Wix Studio from scratch. No templates, no shortcuts. We will start with this beautiful animated hero section. I will show you how to design it and add the animations, not forgetting the glow hover effect on the buttons, followed by this stats section, then this services section. I will show you how to use the repeater to design cards like these, followed by this project section with these hover effects. The skills section where you can showcase your expertise. Followed by this animated testimonial section. Lastly, the contact section features a functioning form and contact details. If you want to learn Wix Studio properly by building real projects, this video is for you. To make this tutorial easy to follow, I've already prepared all the project images, colors, and text used in this build so you can focus on learning and building the layout without worrying about content. Link in the description. With that out of the way, let's start the tutorial. Now, once you are on the Wix Studio dashboard, click Create New Site. Click on Start from a blank canvas. Now this is the editor. Before we proceed, we first need to add the styles we will be using for the website to ensure better consistency. Go to the left side and click on Site Styles. Here, we can add colors and typography. Let's start with colors. Click on this color, copy the color code, paste it in, and click Apply. Rename it to primary blue or whatever you wish. Do the same to these two other colors. As for these three, we will use them as they are. We just have to rename them. Now let's go to typography and update the fonts. Click on the heading font and choose the Just font. I have provided the fonts in the folder in case you don't have them. Go to Upload Fonts and upload the fonts. Once you install the fonts, search for the font. For the headings, we will use Just Bold. And for the paragraphs, we will use Just Regular. Now, let's edit the font sizes. Click on heading 1 and make it 72 pixels and change its color to white, since our website will be on a dark background. Go to heading 2 and make it to 64 and change the color to white. Update the other fonts as shown. Now, let's go to max width. Change it to 1440 as I want the website to not stretch beyond 1440 pixels. Once that is done, let's upload all the images that we will be using. Click on Images, Site Files, and drag in all the images. Last thing, let's change our canvas width to 1440 With that, site setup is complete. Now, let's start working on the hero section of the website. Select this first section and change the responsive behavior to fit the screen. This will make the hero section fit the viewport on site load. Click on Grid Layout and choose the 2x1 grid. Change the background to dark BG. Add left and right padding of 80 pixels and then change to percentage for better responsiveness. Let's change the responsive behavior to fit the screen. Now let's start with this top section of the hero. Go to Quick Add, drag the paragraph element, and change the text. Then go to Images, Site Files, and click on the hand image. Drag it to the left. Lock the aspect ratio and change the width to 40 pixels. Select the two elements and wrap them into a stack. Go to Align Items and align them to the center. Change the item spacing to 8 pixels and drag this to the left. Now let's select the title element, paste in the heading and change the heading style to heading 1. I don't want this to be in 3 lines, so I'm going to drag this to the right a little bit. Now that's perfect. Select this part of the heading, go to color and change the color. Go back to Quick Add, drag in the paragraph element, increase the width, and update the content. Select the description and the heading and wrap them in a stack. Align items to the left and change the item spacing to 16. Now let's add a button. Let's put it here. Then change the background color to a primary blue. Go to Text and change the color to dark BG. Also, change the text to paragraph 1. Click on corners and give it a 12 pixel. Now click on Change Text and type in View My Work or anything you may want. Let's go back to button settings and click on Hover. Change the text color to dark BG. Now go up here to Interactions. This is where you can add different kinds of interactions to elements. Click on Hover, Add, Custom, and then create Custom Animation. Click on the shadow and toggle this on. Input 3 here and here too, and for the blur, input 15. Change the color and increase the opacity to 80%. Now let's see how the button looks. Nice, the blur is perfect. Right-click on the button and save the button as an asset as we will be using it across the site. Give it a name and click Add. Now let's duplicate the button and create a secondary one. Go back to Design, change the background color to dark BG. Go to Border and change the color to blue and add 2 pixels to the width. Go to Text and change the color to white. Go to Hover and make sure the background color is the primary blue. Now let's preview the buttons. Beautiful, the buttons work perfectly. Select the 2 buttons and add them into a stack. Align them to the center and make the item gap to 10. Change the other button text. Adjust the width to fit the text. And with that, the buttons are done. Now drag in the paragraph. Change the text and change the color to gray. Let's get the tool's images from the site images. Drag it here. Lock the aspect ratio and change the width to 50. Duplicate the image and change it. Do the same for all. Once finished, select all and add them to a stack. Align them to the center and add 16 pixels for spacing. Select the image and the text and add a stack. Align to the left and a 16 for spacing. Select all the stacks now and wrap them in a stack. Align everything to the left and adjust the spacing to your liking. Once you're happy with the spacing, it's time to add our hero image. Select the right cell and click on Add Media. Select the hero image. Now let's add the star too. Go to the star image settings and set the display mode to fit bounding box. Let's rename our stacks for better organization. Now it's time to add some page load animations to our hero section. Select this stack, go to Interactions, and click Add under Entrance. There are a lot of effects which we will explore on future videos, but for this I will select the slide effect and then click on Adjust Animation at the bottom. For this, just change the direction from bottom to top. You can preview the animation by clicking on the Preview button at the bottom. Now select the heading and do the same. Adjust the duration and the delay as shown. Adjusting the delay on each element will have a stagger effect. Select the subheading and add the same effect. As for the buttons, select them individually and apply the effect. Select the tools stack and add the effect. For this one, change the direction to from left. Change the duration and the delay. Once finished, move on to the hero image. For this, we will add the fade-in effect. Click on Adjust Animation and add 0.1 to the delay. As for the star, we want it to spin, so go to the loop and click the spin effect. Adjust the duration to 50 seconds so it spins slowly. Now, let's preview and see all the animations. Perfect. As you can see, the hero section loads beautifully, and with that, the hero section is done. Now, let's move on to the next section. Click on Add Section. Let's reduce the height and make it 160 pixels. Let's change the background color and add 80 pixel padding to the right and left, and then change the pixels to % for better responsiveness. Now let's add the content. Drag in the title, update the text, and change the responsive behavior to hug. Change the color of the plus. Drag in the paragraph and update the text. Change the responsive behavior to hug. Change the text style to paragraph 2. Also, change the color to gray. Duplicate this. Update the text. And change the color to white. Select these two and add a stack. Align them to the left and add 9 pixels to item spacing. Now select this stack and add them to a stack. Align to the center and add item spacing of 12. Drag this here, then duplicate it. Duplicate it 3 more times and update the content. Now select all of them and add them to a stack. Let's align to the center and add spacing. Let's add some animations now. Select all of them, go to animations and add an entrance effect. Select the shutter effect and leave all the settings as they are. Let's preview. Nice, and with that, the stats section is complete. Let's proceed to the next section. Change the background to dark BG. And add 80 pixels of padding to the left and right. And 60 pixels to the top and bottom. This will ensure the content has enough breathing room from the edges. Let's drag in the paragraph. Update it. And align the text to the center. Get the title. And change the text. Increase the width like so. And change the text style to heading 3. Get another paragraph. Update the text and align it to the center. Select all 3 and add them to a stack. Align them to the center and add a 16 pixel item spacing. Also make sure they are aligned to the center of the section container by clicking here. Let's rename these sections for better organization. Now let's add these 6 services. Go to Quick Add and drag in the repeater. A repeater is a powerful layout tool that creates multiple items with the same design and structure but with different content. Click on Add Item until we have a total of 6 items. Set the width of the repeater to 1280 and toggle this off. Set a gap of 40 for both horizontal and vertical. Select an individual item and set its width and height to 400 pixels. This will apply to all the items. Select the repeater and align it to the center of the section. Now select the first item and add a 32 pixel padding all around. And remove the background by lowering the opacity to 0. Go to Quick Add, then Media, and select this image. Drag it to the item, lock the aspect ratio and change the width to 150. Drag and position it here. Let's add a title. Change the style to heading 6. And align it to the center. Update the text and proceed to add the paragraph. Update the paragraph and also align it to the center. Position it well as shown. Now select all three and add them to a stack. Align them to the center and adjust the spacing. And this is the layout that we want for our service cards. Now, all that is remaining is to update the content on each of the items. I will pause here and be back once I finish updating all the items. There we go. All items updated. Select the repeater and the heading and add them to a stack. Adjust the spacing to your liking. Now, let's add some animations. Go to the Animations tab and click Add under Entrance. Let's choose the expand effect for this. Adjust the duration to 1.5 seconds for a smoother animation. Since this is a repeater, the animation will be applied to all the items, and with that, the service section is done. Click on Add section. Let's now move to the next section. Change the background color and add padding as usual. Let's copy the heading from the service section. But before that, let's change the color of this text to the primary blue. And now, let's copy it from the Layers panel. Paste it here and change the content. Let's drag in a repeater again, as it will also work perfectly for this section. For this section, we only need 4 items. Change the width to 1280. Toggle this off and add a gap of 48 pixels on both sides. Align the repeater to the center. Change the width of the item to 600 and the height to 500. Change the background color. Add a corner radius of 24 and 32 pixels of padding around. Now let's add some content to the items. Drag in the image element, adjust it as shown, and add 8 pixels to the corner radius. Add in the paragraph, adjust it, change the color to blue, and the style to paragraph 3. Add in the title. Adjust it and change the style to heading 5. Let's change the text. Once done, select the two and add them to a stack. Align them to the left and add 16 pixels to item spacing. Select the image and change it to our project image. Update all the cards. Now, let's add some animation. We will also add the expand animation to these. We will also add a hover animation to these. Click on hover and select expand. Leave all the settings as they are. Now, select the heading and the repeater and add them to a stack. And adjust the spacing, and with that, our portfolio section is done. Let's move on to the next section. Click Add Section. Change the color and add the padding as usual. Let's copy the heading from the previous section. And change the text. Once the heading is done, let's rename the section. For this section, we will use the container. Drag it in. Change the width to 140 and the height to 200. Go to Color and select the gradient. Rotate this to 0. And change the colors as shown. Also, don't forget to add some corner radius. And this is what it will look like. Now go to Media and select the Figma logo. Lock the aspect ratio and change the width. Drag it into the container. Let's add a title now. Let's type 88%. Change the responsive behavior to hug and then change the text style to heading 4. Position it like this. On second thought, I think this looks big, so let's change it to heading 5. Drag in the paragraph and type Figma. Change the responsive behavior to hug. Change the text style and color. Select all three and add them to a stack. Align them to the center and add item spacing. Come here to the top and align the stack to the center of the container. Now, duplicate the container and change the content. Once finished, select all the containers and add them to a stack. Align them to the center and add 46 pixels to item spacing. Also, align to the center of the section here at the top. Adjust the spacing. Now let's add some animations. Select the container. Go to Animation Entrance. And let's add the flap animation. Leave the settings as they are for the first container. Do this for all the containers, the difference being the delay so that we can have the stagger effect on load. Let's preview it now. And it's perfect as you can see. Now select these two and add them to a stack. Adjust the spacing and we are done. Now let's drag in another container. Change the size to 600 by 500. Remove the background. Add a 2-pixel border. Change the color to blue. Add corner radius of 16. And don't forget to add padding of 32 pixels all around. Now our container is ready. Let's add a title. And change the style to heading 5. Add the paragraph. Change the text. And change the color to gray. Duplicate it. And move it to the right. Change the text. Change the color and the text style to paragraph 1. Select the two texts and add a stack. Align the text to the right and align to center. Also make sure to align them to the center of the container. Duplicate this and change the text and the style. Duplicate this, change the text. Change the text style to paragraph 2 and color to gray. Select all three, add them to a stack. Align them to the left and add item spacing. Duplicate this stack and change the content. Drag it the line and change its color. Now select all three, add a stack and adjust the spacing. Select everything and align it to the center of the container. Select the entire container, copy it and paste. Drag to the right. Select the two containers and add a stack. Align to the center and add item spacing. Now update all the content of the right container. Nice, select these two and add a stack. Adjust the spacing. Let us also reduce the height of this section. And with that, we are done for this section. Click Add Section. Change the background color and add padding as usual. Let's copy this heading and paste it into our new section. Align it to the top of the section and change the text. Now, let's design our simple testimonial card. Drag in the container. Change the width to 400 and the height to 250. Remove the background. Add a 2-pixel border and give it the blue color. Add a corner radius of 16 and a padding of 32 all around. And with that, our container is ready for content. Select the star image from site files, lock the aspect ratio, and change the width to 30. Drag it into the container and duplicate it 4 more times. Select all of them and add a stack. Align them to the center and add item spacing. Add the paragraph and change the text. With all this text, the container feels small, so let's adjust the size so that everything fits well. Now, let's add the image. Reduce the size to 75. Add a title. And change the text style. Change it. Duplicate it. And also change the text style and color as shown. Select these two and add a stack. Align them and add some item spacing. Now select this and the image and add to a stack. Align to the center and adjust the spacing. Now select all 3 and add a stack. Align them and add spacing. And that completes the design of the card. Now is the time to update and change the content. Duplicate the card 2 more times. And select all to add to a stack. Align to the center and add spacing. Now select the stack. Go to Animations, Loop, and add New. Select the cross effect and click on Adjust Animation. Change the duration to 40 seconds and the direction from left, and this is how it will look. Now duplicate it and move it here. Select the 2 and add them into a stack. Adjust the spacing so all have 40 pixels of spacing and align them to the center. Now unstack them since we need them to move independently. Let's preview. Perfect. We now have an endless movement of the card across the website. Now duplicate the 2 and change the direction. Also, change the duration to 45 seconds. Our testimonial section is done. Let's move to the next section. Change the background color and add padding as usual. Copy the heading from the previous section and change the text. Now, get the container Change the width to 75 by 75. Let's remove the background and add a gradient. And also add a border. Move it to the left and add a 16 pixel padding to the right and left. Let's add the phone button. Make it size 32. Align it to the center of the container. On second thought, let's make the pointer size 50 by 50. Now let's add some info. Drag in the paragraph and type in phone. Duplicate it and add the phone number. And change the style to heading 6. Select the two texts and add them into a stack. Align to the left and add spacing. Now select this stack and the container and add them to a stack. Align them to the center and add spacing. Duplicate this 2 more times. Select all and add them to a stack. Align to the left of the section. And proceed with updating the content. Once done, drag in the image element and reduce the size to 32 by 32. Position it on the left and change the image to the social media icon. Keep duplicating it for the remaining social icons. Once finished, select them all and add a stack. Align to the center and add item spacing. Make sure everything is aligned well to the left. Now, let's proceed to adding a form. Go to Quick Add, Contacts and Forms, and select the form you want. For this tutorial, I will use this form. Drag it to the canvas and let it load. Position it here. Let's add these to a stack. Adjust the spacing and put them here. Now let's work on the form. Increase the width like this and click on Settings. This is the Settings panel. Go to Layout here, leave everything as is. Go to Design, then Form Background and remove the background. Go back and click on Form Fields under Input Styles. Select all sides. Remove the background color and change the border color to gray. Change the form field's text color as shown. Go up to State and change to hover and change the border color to blue. Now go back and click on the header and paragraph. Here we can change the color of the headers and paragraphs used on our form. Once finished, go back and click on buttons. Here we can change the look and feel of the button. Let's change the font color, the button style, and also the text style. And with that, we are done with the settings. Now proceed to edit the form. On this panel, we can change the heading text and all the other text as we want, and also add or remove inputs. Let's drag the button to the left. Let's also remove this last name input and replace it with a phone number. We can edit the input text on the right side as such. And also edit the placeholder text, plus determine whether the input is required or not. Once everything is, click on Save. Now select the form and this stack and add them to a new stack. Align them to the center and adjust the spacing. Now, let's add some animations to the contact info. Click on the first stack. Go to Animations, add an entrance animation, and select the slide effect. Go to Adjust the animation, change the direction to from top, and leave all the other settings as they are. Do the same to the other stack and only change the delay so we have a stagger effect when loading. For the social media stack, give it the same slide effect but change the direction too. From bottom, the form cannot be animated, so we will skip it. Let's preview and see how the animation looks. Nice. Now let's add all these three into a stack and adjust the spacing. Adjust the section height and with that, we are done. Now let's move on to the navbar. Before doing the navbar, let's give all of the sections an anchor. This will enable us to scroll to a specific section when we click on the nav links in the navbar. Select the section, go to Anchor, and type the name. Give the section a descriptive name to avoid confusion. Do this to all of the section except the hero section. Once finished, select the navbar and change its background color. Click on the current logo, click on the three dots. Go down to Quick Add and select Image. Replace the image with our logo. Then click on Image Settings. Change the display mode to Fit Bounding Box. Adjust the logo to fit well as shown. Now let's do the nav links. Select Menu from the Layers panel, click on the Manage menu and a panel will appear. Go to Add Item, select Link or Anchor. Select Anchor, under which page, select Home, and under which anchor, select the anchor. For the first anchor, I will choose the Service section. Now add all the anchors you have. Once finished, rename the links. go to the right panel and change the text color to white. Go to State and select Selected and change the color. This will be the color of the link when it is clicked. Now, let's preview. As you can see, the links are working perfectly. When clicked, they scroll to the section. Let's make the navbar stick at the top when scrolling. Select the navbar. Go to Scroll Effect and select Freeze. This little animation here shows each effect. Also, select Next section under Overlap, and with that, the navbar is complete. Before we preview it, let's do a simple footer first. Select the footer at the bottom, give it a height of 200, and change the background color. Select this text and edit it. Bring in the logo, select the logo and the text, and add a stack. Align them to the center. I think the footer height is a bit large, so let's reduce it to 150. And that's it, our website is done. Let's preview it. Everything looks perfect. I hope you have learned something with this video. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.